WWE Elimination Chamber in the city of Chicago. I believe it's was WWE's first live event at the United Center in 32 years. Every time I see that stat, it's just wild to me. Last time they were there was for SummerSlam in 1994. Um, and yeah, I think like for the buzz around it and some of the conversations about what this needed to be, it was a pretty good crowd. I didn't know what to expect because we kept hearing things like it wasn't sold out yet, and some of the stuff about like the new blackout rules around the venue and how the tickets would sell. And the crowd was pretty good. Of course, we got a obligatory attendance number at one point in the night, but I thought for the most part the crowd sounded good. They sounded invested in the show, and it looked good on TV. I don't know. I wasn't in the building.
Yeah, every time we have Wrestle Ticks discourse, Phil, going into the show, I'm like, WWE, the way that they work now is like they're going to sell this out. And Chicago's a wrestling town. They're a
Yeah.
walk-up wrestling town. Like they were like Chicago's a like, there's a wrestling show today. I'm not doing anything. I'll pull up, or like I'll see what's happening on the day and I'll pull up. And you know that they're going to show up and they're going to be excited about it. It felt like anytime people are doom and gloom, I'm like, it's not really at that point. Like you have a concept like the Elimination Chamber, you got Chicago's own CM Punk having a big title match. Chicago's going to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like there were quite a few people that bought tickets last minute.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of talked about the day of. But you know, you're gonna have stuff like that for WWE events, like walk up ticket buyers. But yeah, start the show with the women's elimination chamber match. Uh, Rhea Ripley took on Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Kiana James, and Raquel Rodriguez. Yeah, I thought that the women's elimination chamber match was the better of the two chamber matches.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it did what it needed to do for both Kiana James and Raquel Rodriguez. Kiana James has had a pretty impressive year, both her showing in a Royal Rumble match and women winning a qualifying match, and then coming into this match. But Raquel Rodriguez was surprisingly the highlight of this match. I did not
Mm-hmm.
expect that coming in. She looked strong throughout this thing. She had several big highlights, big eliminations here. A spot where she rammed Kiana through the pod and back around looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
So much so when she got eliminated, the crowd was booing. They did not want her to lose. A lot of this crowd wanted Raquel to win.
Yeah, this is everybody keeps bringing up the Kevin Nash thing, but like legit, it worked when Kevin Nash was like, "Oh, you need to change and you need to start working like this." Raquel has been working like in this match. It was so specific of her being like, "I'm the biggest one in here. I'm walking around like I'm the biggest one in here. I'm walking around like I'm the baddest one in here." And just the way she was working, I thought was super strong in this, and getting a crowd Chicago to rally behind you is very impossible task for some, and for her to do that I thought was so super dope. Kiana James, they kind of gave her the ball in some points, I thought was awesome too, because considering who she's in the ring with, like letting her kind of find her way and be in the ring at moments where it's just her and another person, I thought was very strong. I think that's helping her in the future and establishing who she is as a character. It was super weird what they were doing with her for a while. It's like, no, this woman can work if they give her the opportunity. And I thought she really showed that. There was some crazy ass spots like the one you brought up with that Rhea flipping off of the top of the pod onto Raquel, and then I was just like, okay, this is bodies on top of bodies. The women's match felt more. It's been like this with WWE matches when they have women's and men's matches in the same night of the same kind of gimmick. It feels more innovative. They feels like they're coming up with different things and not just rehashing spots. And that's what the women's elimination chamber match felt like.
Yeah, started with Kiana James versus Tiffany Stratton. Then I think Asuka was in next. Asuka entered the fray, and Kiana tried to rush her in her pod and attack her before she could get out. And it was kind of like, wait a minute. It was like one of those wait a minute moments. Like, do you know who I am? And like once Asuka like actually started getting her offense in and started banging her against the pod, it was like, well, hold on. Can't get out of his cage. People got a bit excited here, but like I said, the match completely changed when Raquel Rodriguez came in last. I think it was
Hmm.
the order was Asuka, then Alexa Bliss, then Rhea, then Raquel. Of course, came in last.
Hmm.
Raquel racked up 2 eliminations. Didn't love how they used Asuka in this match, but Raquel eliminated both Kiana James and Asuka.
Stack them
Uh,
up.
yeah, like I said, wasn't thrilled with the way she was used here, but what can you say? Tiffany Stratton ended up eliminating Raquel Rodriguez, and very ironic that Tiffany Stratton was in the same position when Elimination Chamber took place in Perth, where when she got eliminated, the crowd booed because they wanted her to win. But this time, when she eliminated Raquel, the crowd booed because they did not want Raquel out of this match. They wanted her to win. Um, and very understandably so, because like I said, I thought that Raquel was the highlight of this match. When it got down to Tiffany and Rhea Ripley, uh, Tiffany was getting bounced off the pod. She took some nasty looking bumps. I mean, there were certain points where she was trying to like go for like her big moonsault spots, and she was getting like pulled off of the turnbuckle and slammed against the chamber walls and stuff. I was like, God, she is in there getting bruised and battered up. By then, she was bloodied a little bit, bruised. I was like, bro, she is taking a beating in there.
Yeah, that one where she's about to hit the moonsault and Rhea just pushes her forward into the pod and she just crashes into it. It's like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here with Tiffany. It's so interesting the difference in like last year's Elimination Chamber of the year before and where Tiffany is, because like the previous years it would have been way different. People would have been way up for her, but now she's like adjusting to being who she is in a kind of a different heel type of character. Rhea's still who she is, and she was just on some destruction shit. I like just her being like, I'm still Rhea Ripley, and I will tear through whoever I need to win this match, and that's what she did.
Yeah. Of course, Rhea Ripley picked up the win here. She's going on to WrestleMania to face Jade Cargill. Like I said, I thought that this was a strong match. Um, like I said, I didn't love the way Oscar was used in this match. I'm also
Mhm.
not really thrilled with what they're doing with EO so far because EO coming out of last year, I felt was WWE's MVP, and now she's
Definitely.
just kind of like Rhea's buddy on Raw. Like they did the tag match, and they dropped the tag belts to Nia and Lash Legend, and then it was kind of like, well, I'm going off to SmackDown to challenge Jade. See you later, EO. And EO's like, I support you fully. And it's like, okay, but what is EO doing now?
Yeah, super interesting because like legit everybody that was everybody's MVP for WWE, man or woman, last year was EO. Everybody was saying that was their match of the year. Everybody was coming out of that year being like, it's up for EO. She should be having an amazing run coming into 2026. And it just hasn't been that. The focus has been in other places. And when you got a tremendous talent like this, I'm putting her in another one-on-one WrestleMania main event. If it's me, Phil, just because I've seen what she's done the last couple years, the triple threat
Yeah,
match, the match with Bailey was fucking fire. Like she just has so many classics at this point. How would you not super utilize her again?
yeah. I've seen people throw around that she could go on to challenge Julia or something, which I feel like that feels like a step back. She was just world champion. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
you're giving Rhea a spot now where she's challenging for the world title. The whole storyline is Rhea has never beat EO, so why would you have EO regress back and challenge for the U.S. title? There's also the Oscar match. You could finally do the Oscar one-on-one match. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I believe they do that at WrestleMania. I think it was WrestleVotes that was saying they have about 5 women's matches penciled in that they could use for WrestleMania weekend.
I saw
If
that.
that's true, great. I'm not sure if I believe that, but we'll see.
5 WrestleMania matches. So I mean, the spread across 2 nights, that's nothing. But that just it's like hearing that when reading that report, I was like, ooh, history does not show that. Like 3 is max. Like getting
Yeah,
5 is like being generous. But like there's 5 stories that have been told. And like, I mean, the EO and Oscar match is one that could be featured in that. So I would not be mad at it. And if you want to totally kind of do something different. I think featuring a lot of women's matches WrestleMania weekend is a huge change.
Yeah, I mean, you've got five potential matches you can do between like the two women's title matches. You could get a women's title match on there, possibly Io versus Asuka. That's four right there.
Hmm.
You can fill
Julia
out five.
match.
Yeah, you can fill out five matches on this card if you want it, but
Hmm.
we're still doing these five match cards, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work.
We'll get into it with the men stuff, but the report coming out that they took the belt off of Cody so he would be on the shows. I was like, wait, I don't even understand what this report's saying. You took the world championships off the guy so he would be on the shows. Why don't you just put him on the show as the world champion? What do I know?
So he can be in the big stipulation matches. So he can be both in Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. And there's an easy way to fix that by having him defend his title at Royal Rumble or make the Elimination Chamber match a championship match. I don't
Huh.
know. What a novel idea. Which is going to come into play again later tonight. Um, but also in the potential matches we were saying for WrestleMania, you could also throw in AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch or AJ Lee
Yep.
versus another opponent for the IC Championship. Um,
Hmm.
AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch was up next. I thought that this was pretty good for expectations coming out of this build. This build was not great.
Mm,
I wasn't really worried about the match itself because Becky
no.
has had good matches with other legends, and AJ Lee has looked pretty good in the matches since she's been back. My concern last week was if you're going to stretch this storyline out to WrestleMania, how do you do that? And my concern ended up being the stuff that I liked the least about this match.
Hmm.
Because when it was just straightforward wrestling, I thought it was pretty good. I thought that AJ still looks good. Looks she still looks about as you expect in the ring. Becky is still Becky, and I think all of the like the transitions and like the technical wrestling we got in this match was strong. But yeah, this turnbuckle stuff they did towards the end wasn't a big fan of it.
This shows why Becky is Becky though. Like if given the opportunity with anybody, she can turn a good match. She can make the crowd do exactly what they were gonna do. Be against her, be on the baby face's side, get the baby faces. Like she made AJ look great in this. But like you
Yeah.
said, if they're going to stretch this, they have to. This couldn't be a straightforward 1, 2, 3 match. It has to be some shenanigans to lead to another match, and there were some shenanigans in here. I mean, Becky Lynch is kind of going 100% on the shenanigans gimmick, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Like I said, the wrestling itself, I enjoyed that.
Strong.
I thought it was what I expected. Um,
Hmm.
we get to the point where uh the pad gets ripped off of the turnbuckle, and we get a obligatory ref bump and all the rest of the stuff. At one point, Jessica Carr is coming in there, and she's like trying to take the string and put the turnbuckle back on
Hmm.
the turnbuckle pad back on the turnbuckle, and I'm just like, I think you could just leave it. I
Just
think it's
leave it.
fine. I think you could just leave it off. Um, Becky tries to throw AJ into it and use it to cheat. Jessica Carr stops her, and she's just like not letting that happen. That plays into all of the stuff between Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch because Becky's like, "You're in cahoots. You're in it with them. You're all screwing
Mhm.
me. This isn't fair." And so she ends up hitting the turnbuckle herself on accident. Jessica Carr sees it, does nothing about it. AJ Lee uses that to her advantage, picks up the win. AJ Lee is the new women's intercontinental champion. All this shenanigan stuff towards the end of the match was just kind of silly.
Yeah.
Because I get the point you're trying to make that Jessica Carr didn't technically do anything wrong because Becky hit the turnbuckle on accident. But she made a point to not allow Becky to use the turnbuckle. But then when it's used against Becky, she just immediately acted like she didn't see it and counted anyway. I mean, that's going to play into Becky's claim, I'm sure, for the next few weeks that she was
Yeah.
screwed. She's owed a rematch. Um, Yeah, I could have done without all of that stuff. I there was no way that AJ Lee was not going to win here in her adopted hometown of Chicago, Illinois. That was very funny multiple times when she came out, and I was just like, yeah, I think AJ Lee is from New Jersey, guys. But I understand what you're doing. There was no way she was losing, but
Right.
the way we got there, I don't think we needed that. AJ came out on Monday and is doing the "I'm a fighting champion" gimmick. I There's so many people back there I would like to have matches with now, and now that I have this opens the door for that, and that's what I've been waiting for them to do with AJ Lee. Just do some new matchups, do something different with her. And I assume they're going to try to make it seem like they're going to do that for the next few weeks. But there's no way I believe that the Mania match isn't still Becky versus AJ.
Yeah, they're gonna have to run it back. That's exactly what it is. But yeah, there's a world where all these women are inspired legit by AJ Lee and want to have matches with her, and part of them are here because of the contributions that she made. So we need to get a couple of those matches. It can't just all be Becky Lynch stuff. Like it makes sense that it is Becky Lynch stuff. There was a moment in the match where it's like, well, in what world should AJ Lee beat Becky Lynch, this monster of a person? But you add in these kind of shenanigans, you break this stuff in, and it makes sense. But yeah, AJ should at least tease the potential of next opponents, tease the potential of future feuds, because I think that a lot of people are excited about that. Uh, I don't. I hope there's a few title defenses going into one or two at least going into WrestleMania, so it just isn't like she's using this belt to transition right back to Becky, because I don't know how much sense that would make. But I do like Becky being involved in a Mania match. She should be in some capacity.
Yeah, there's already a bunch of options. I mean, you've already got the option for Bailey versus AJ Lee for the IC title. You've
You
got
betcha.
Roxanne.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you've got so many great matchups for her on Raw. So many people that were clearly inspired by her that you can have the matches with on Raw. So hopefully they get some of those in before WrestleMania, before Becky just comes back and starts screaming at us that she was screwed at Elimination Chamber. At one point as well, Becky accidentally kicks Jessica Carr, and she looks down at her, knocked on the ground, and she's just like, well, whatever. Um, and that was funny, but again, it just played into all this stuff with her and Jessica Carr that I don't know that we needed it, guys. I think it could have been just a straightforward match. And maybe this is just to get us to the straightforward match at WrestleMania, and that match is going to be better. Hopefully that's the case. I'm kind of confused by the decision to do it twice and not just do the match at WrestleMania if this was always the plan.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I'm sure part of it is to give AJ Lee a title win here in Chicago before WrestleMania, but I think you could have just gave her the big win at WrestleMania and it would have been fine.
Yeah, when they had the little walk-ups before Elimination Chamber, and they were like the hometown couple of Punk and AJ, I was like, oh no, I see exactly what's the play here. I see exactly how they're kind of laying this out. So her winning this match makes a lot of sense. I remember being right before AJ Lee left, there was a show in San Jose, and her and Bailey teamed up, and it was always just like, this match, you guys, like we got to get to it. So we got to get to AJ Lee and Bailey at least once, you guys. Get it to us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's an exciting prospect. They're doing a lot of open challenges right now,
Mm.
but that's still an exciting prospect. AJ Lee versus Roxanne or Bailey or Io
Mm-hmm.
Sky or
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of other women. There's a plethora of women
Rhea.
for her to wrestle and on Raw. So
Oh yeah, Rhea just left the SmackDown.
yeah, I mean, well, Rhea is in a world title picture now. I don't know if she
Mm-hmm.
would be like, "Hey, I want the IC title too," but crazier things have happened, so wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we have Finn Balor versus CM Punk for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Uh, Coming off of their strong match earlier this year on Raw, I didn't know what to expect from this. I thought that they could, you know, reach that same level again. But the problem here is this match had absolutely no heat. Nobody believed that Finn Balor was going to win this match, and I think that it kind of harmed the build, and then it actually also harmed the reception to it from the audience because the crowd
Right.
was into it. The crowd was into Punk, but the entire time, nobody believed that Finn Balor was going to win this match. So a lot of the
No.
stuff that he was doing that probably would have gotten better reactions any other time didn't really work here. But I thought this match did what it was supposed to do. For story purposes, it made Punk feel like a big star, as we knew it was supposed to do. This is Chicago,
Yep.
Illinois, buddy. Him standing in the back. We got the Alan Parsons Project, Sirius playing, Fame, Chicago Bulls announcer Ray Clay did his ring announcement. They pulled down the banners for him with the World Heavyweight Championship in the United Center, and I was just like, this is for me. This is for me. I was the entire time I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. As somebody that's lived in this city, massive Bulls fan, iconic arena, just like multiple memories of sitting home watching the Bulls get ready to go out there and getting this entrance and winning a championship. It just felt big. It made Punk feel like a big massive star, a big hometown hero. And then of course he comes out, cult of personality. He's got the Blackhawks gear on, which looked fire. Yeah, I saw a lot of people trying to slander and talk crazy, and I was like, "Nah, stay out of Chicago business."
I mean, not being in the United Center specifically, Phil, for 32 years, and then you come back with Punk as champion. He is back to the fanfare originally in WWE. People feel how they like he's a big star again. And to come back to this reception with that theme, with all those aesthetics, man, it's like, how could you be mad at this, man? This is what child, when you dreamed of being a pro wrestler as a child, this is the moment Punk dreamed of. Like in the United Center as the world champion, Chicago, people are going absolutely ape shit for me. Like, come on, man. Like, just it felt good, I think, to see that in Chicago specifically and against an opponent like you said, nobody believed in 1 minute that Finn Balor was going to win, but what Finn Balor still represents, and knowing that if given the time that they can have a great match, that prospect I think helped us with this match.
Yeah, really, yeah, really dope entrance. I was thrilled for this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The match itself, I thought the match was actually very good.
Yeah.
I thought it was exactly what it needed to be. It just didn't have like the heat and suspense behind it that would have made it better. I love that this was a very physical match. Uh, Finn Balor was showing a lot of desperation. He's been coming back out with his old theme song, not coming out with Judgment Day anymore. He made the point that he wanted to win this match on his own. Uh, and he was giving it to Punk at several
Mm-hmm.
points in this match. He had the all white custom um, shoes on. By the end of this match, he had blood smeared all over those shoes, like because he was out there giving Punk the business at some point. Um, Punk kicked out of a coup de grace. That does not happen very often. One of the most protected finishers in this company. Um, and the way it was done, I thought was great. Finn Balor worked the midsection multiple times throughout this match to set up the coup de grace. I thought the spot where he does the shotgun drop kick through the barricade looked great. It looked like very violent and physical. Did
Mm-hmm.
exactly what it was supposed to do. Put over the fact that this guy is continuing to soften him up to use his finisher. Um, it looked a little bit rough, but I thought it landed well when Finn tries to do the coup de grace and Punk counters it, rolls it up into the sharpshooter. Um, wasn't exactly smooth as it needed to be, but I thought it looked good. And there were several spots like that. This was just a very smartly worked match.
Yes.
I think for the pace that Punk works, sometimes it's going to look like the other guy in there, like Finn Balor and some of these other guys are slowing down with him. But the thing that's still the strength of Punk matches is his storytelling. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
the storytelling throughout this match was really good.
Yeah, no, I think that as this run as world champion, CM Punk is locking into that old school, like they're all inspired by fucking Terry Funk. So he's just into that, like, it's psychology. I'm not going to be going a million miles per hour, but I'm going to smartly work these matches. I'm going to be in the right positions. I'm going to be the vet in the match, and I'm going to let the other guy kind of work super fast around me. And I think that's a lot of what went on here. Finn Balor, the story that they kind of told going into this to that week, Phil, of him being like, I'm going to be the spoiler. I don't care what happened with Punk and Reigns. I'm going to come in here and take the championship and spoil that whole WrestleMania thing. I thought was super fun. Him kind of getting back to the things we love about him is awesome. And on display in this match, like you said, he's still as good as he's ever been. Like Finn is still, if given the opportunity, if they were to make him world champion, it would be great. And I think a lot of what is great about both of them in this position at this age was on display in this match.
Yeah. I thought Finn came away from this looking really good. I think it's just a shame that he was put in this position where nobody believed he was going to win. But I think he still wrestled a good match with Punk. And for my taste, the Raw match was probably better, but this did exactly what it was supposed to do to advance the WrestleMania build. Because they're really making a point or drawing home the point with that Punk is a fighting champion. Roman is interested in the big prize fights. He's here for the pay-per-views, but week to week he's not going to be here. And this is really what the World Heavyweight Championship was established to be, because as Roman wasn't there and he had two belts at one point, you needed another world championship on TV. You needed a fighting champion, somebody that was going to be present and could have like these kind of matches in between the big pay-per-views. And that's really what Rollins did as champion. That's really some of the stuff that Gunther did at one point as champion. And so Punk is really doing the same thing and really being the one in this build to WrestleMania. It's just like, hey, I'm the one that's here. I'm present. And of course, that played into Roman tweeting by the end of the night. I don't know who was more tired, the crowd or the champion. And Punk responded to that during the post show. And I thought his response was hilarious. But I thought, again, what I keep thinking about this. Oh, there are things I think about this that are funny, but this audience doesn't care because they very much like Roman Reigns. They don't care what he does at this point.
Right.
They're just going to lock it up. Him making a point of, haha, yeah, wouldn't be me. Work smarter, not harder. And I'm just like, yeah, you're tweeting this from home.
He at home, bro. Yeah.
And you're trying to make it seem like, oh, well, he had to work this show in his hometown at United Center. Well, I think that's pretty beast. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we want a champion that defends the belt and is here. We don't want somebody that is working remotely during Elimination Chamber, one of the biggest gates you got this year so far, and being like, haha, sucks to be you. You had to go to work.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing. It's like people were like, "How Roman really got him, smashed him, got Punk out of here." I'm like, he laughed at him for being at work though. Like, I don't really understand.
Like, did he?
I think the whole point is to go to work and like work a big main event as the world champion in your hometown. The crowd loves you. You get this special entrance. Not really a diss to be like, "Haha, sucks to be you." No, it's pretty cool. I wish you were here. Most people in the crowd want you to be at the show, so that's not really the coldest diss, but I do like that. Like you said, he is at that position. He can do whatever he want, though, Phil. He's like a top guy. He could do it and say whatever he want, and people are like, "Yeah, Roman's that guy."
He can get his lies off. Like he finished that tweet by saying, "Enjoy the last few weeks of relevancy," and it's just like, buddy, you had to challenge him. There's a little delusion here, man. It's a little delusion here, but I feel you. We got the crate reveal up next. I don't know what people expected out of a crate reveal in wrestling. It's inherently stupid. It's inherently silly, and so
no way for it to work ever.
Everything about it, it's always going to be silly. They roll the crate out there right after Punk's match. Both Pierce and Nick Aldis open it. Smoke comes out. Then all of the dancing Danhausen ladies come out. Danhausen comes out to his new WWE theme music. They march down to the ring. Danhausen is doing the points to the crowd. He gets in the middle of the ring, does his curse. They do like the poof of smoke for the pyro. Lights go off. Initially, the crowd popped for him. But then when they realized he wasn't actually doing anything, it was just like, what was that? Then they booed. And there are multiple things that I thought were funny about this. First of all, doing a 4 week build with no like vignettes, with no anything to hint at it being Danhausen, and just cold dropping Danhausen on a major pay-per-view
In a
is
box.
hilarious. And then people being like, wait a minute, my expectations were up here. Where's Chris Jericho? Where's The Rock? It's like, did you guys really think Chris Jericho was coming back in a crate?
In a
Like,
box.
I
Come
know that
on,
that
you
was a
guys.
funny joke at one point, but no, Chris Jericho was not going to make his big WWE return in a crate, guys. Like, that was not happening. And then just the idea that I looked around and I was like, everything about the Danhausen stuff in AEW and how he was linked to Punk in a lot of the last year or so with AEW. And Punk is getting this big moment, United Center. He comes out, feels like a big star. His wife wins a championship. He wins a championship. I mean, well, retains his championship. Right afterwards, his wife comes out, celebrates with him, and then his friend gets a big moment in the same show in the United Center. I was like, this is hilarious. Like,
The fact that
just the idea of Punk being back. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say the fact that the reveal happened immediately after his match, like that was in the contract too. Like I wanted the reveal to happen, but it's got to happen right after you have your big title win with your wife in the ring.
Yeah. Um, just the idea of Punk being back there and going like, you know what we should sign? Danhausen. And they're like, who? He's like, but Danhausen, it'll work. Like, just hook it up. Bring my guy in. Fucking hilarious. Um, but yeah, so when this was happening, because this phenomena of wrestling, of these things getting hyped up to the nth degree, and then people turning it into this big, oh, it's got to be this major surprise. It's got to be big. It's got to be something that's going to change the shape of wrestling. It's going to change the WrestleMania build. And it was just a nothing thing. It was just Danhausen coming out there and going, yep, it's just me. Curse, poof, lights are off. That in itself was really, really funny to me. And I laugh at a lot of things that are very silly. I've always thought that Danhausen is a good act. I think that he's funny. Uh, just for a guy that's been in this business for as long as he has, and a guy that was a legitimate draw on the Indies. No matter what people will say about like the AEW run, this guy is a legitimate draw. This guy sells a ton of merch. This is proven at this point. There are indie shows all the time where he is front and center on a poster. They're using him to sell these shows. No, this guy has done it. He's paid his dues, and for him to get like on the biggest stage here and get a moment, I was happy for him. Um, so that made it even funnier when I got on and people were like, Danhausen, I can't believe this. This sucks. And I was just like, I don't think it's that serious, guys. But okay. And the longer this went on from Saturday to Monday, and people were getting madder and madder about it, and then trying to like argue their point of like, no, they hyped us up for something, and then it was just Danhausen. I'm like, I think that was kind of the point. That's kind of the point of a crate gimmick of getting you to think this is something bigger than it is, and it's a big joke.
Yeah. No, Danhausen having parts of the entrance choreographed, like he'd do like a little like dance or something on certain bits. I was dying, dude, on the floor. And then
Hilarious,
he
bro.
get the big poof, and then the lights go out, and people are like, "Oh, damn, that legit was it." Killed me. I'm like, how is this not the funniest thing people have ever seen in their lives? People calling him Dan Housen, separating him and not Danhausen. I'm like, you guys, this is hilarious. Why? Like, I think there's a certain world where in WWE, in the WWE universe, Danhausen has a big part. Like, I don't understand when people are like, he has no place here. I'm like, what do you mean he has no place here? There's a couple of places I think he could fit in. There's a couple of places I think he makes sense. Like Phil was saying, 1 hour tease or whatever the fucking site is called. He was number one seller over there. Like, they're pissed off that he went to WWE because he's gone now, and he was a big money maker, and he's gonna be the same way. You think these kids in WWE aren't gonna love some Danhausen? get ready to learn some Danhausen, you guys. They're about to
bro.
give him
He's
his own little segment, whatever the time with Danhausen on TV. He's gonna be getting his bits in, and people are gonna love that shit. That's why I'm like, I don't understand why people are so mad. Like, it's pretty inoffensive, I think.
I yeah. Um yeah, just the idea of them also putting this big budget behind Danhausen, putting like all of this like pyro and like all of this like again 4 weeks of build into a Danhausen reveal. It's really funny. And then, like I said, the fact that people got mad at it made it even funnier to me because I was like, wait, you guys are really mad. Like, I don't think it's that serious, but
And
yeah,
again,
very,
Phil, with the AEW a guy fresh off AEW reveal essentially, because this, like you said, they didn't say this is who it's gonna be. They didn't have like maybe Danhausen, no secrets or nothing. You're dropping this guy in Raw off of being, and he wasn't even in AEW for like a full year. You're dropping this guy off Raw of
no.
expectations, essentially. So like, what do people expect this to be? It's starting to be interesting how they're doing that with certain types. When you got Saints in the Ricky Saints and Ethan Page in NXT, and then they immediately dropped this guy to the main roster, a main debut on a PLE. Phil, like by himself, not a part of the Royal Rumble.
Bro,
Like this was like they created a spot for this guy.
I this is gonna sound like hyperbole, but other than Punk and Cody, is there any other AEW wrestler that came straight in and got a pay-per-view debut that was this big? It's just those two. Everybody else has ended up on NXT. Even when they brought Jade in, it wasn't treated like this. This is technically the third biggest AEW debut on the main roster, and they used it on Danhausen. Everything about that is funny. Danhausen getting this big jump to the main roster straight away before Ricky Saints, before before Royce, like before Blake Monroe. Danhausen.
Blake came off one of the big, like people call that their favorite AEW feud of all time, and they're like, nah, go down here to NXT. Danhausen
Bro,
was in catering for the last year, and they're like main
bro,
roster debut on the PLE.
bro. Teriyaki God saying it in our chat, and he's right. It's arguably the biggest because Cody and Punk are returns. They were already from over there. This is a guy that is like completely new to their product in Danhausen, and they dropped him in cold on a WWE pay-per-view. Big debut, big weeks of teasing. Hilarious, bro. The thing about that is hilarious to me. And people being like, oh, this is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. And it makes it all even funnier. Like, it's just, bro, great stuff. My
Ooh.
concern, before I get into anything else, is you set the bar so high at this point because you've put him in this big moment. It kind of feels like the Taz thing where Taz always talks about debuting at Madison Square Garden, and that was kind of the peak. It was only down from there. And when we
Yep.
talked about it last week, and I was like, oh no, if it's Danhausen in this crate, like, where does he go from there? I like, um, it just feels like at that point, what's the move from there? And I'm still not sure about that. But so far so good. The two segments that he got this week on both Raw and SmackDown, and then that also is hilarious. Again, this guy AEW debut comes in, big debut on the pay per view. It's on both shows this week. On both shows this week, and I thought both the segments did a better job of actually establishing who Danhausen is,
Right.
what his character is, and why he's so funny. Because I thought the SmackDown thing was hilarious. I thought the Raw thing was also hilarious. Um, and it sets up what the curse is. It's just like, well, wait a minute. He didn't really do anything. And it's kind of like the Leonard Nimoy thing of, didn't I? I cursed him. That's why he lost his championship match. Well, no, he just lost. And it's just like, well, but I cursed him beforehand. And so
Hmm.
I think that that's kind of the joke here. And if people don't get that that's going to continue to be this thing of building up superstition around him. Like, I even saw when people were saying, oh, it looked like the pyros malfunctioned because it just gave the poof. I'm like, no, that was the point. It was supposed to look like a gag. I don't know.
It's a bit. I thought of it exactly like the Orange Cassidy one little pyro thing. Like, no, it's like a part of the aesthetics. It's a part of that. Danhausen wouldn't have this big super fireworks show. No, he'd have a little poof. He'd have a little bit of puff of smoke come out, and then he'd get out of there. And that's exactly what's happening. And they're exactly like you're saying, Phil. Utilizing him how I figured they would utilize him. They're gonna have him in these backstage segments. They're gonna have him doing these bits with all the guys who do bits on the show, and that's what he's going to be. He's not going to come in and beat the world champion. He's not going to come in and dominate all the hours. He's going to be Danhausen.
Yeah. I thought this did what it needed to do for him, especially the stuff on TV. And by Friday night during his segment when he was talking to the Miz, and he was like, "Yeah, you are gonna be my mentor, or you are cursed." And by the time he said "you are cursed," the whole crowd was saying with him. And within a week, I was like, "Yeah, he's gonna be fine." I I don't know why people have this mixed up. Like, this is a company that does not focus on the wrestling. He's doing a comedy bit. He's got a catchphrase. All of that stuff works in his company. I don't know. And now you've got their production value behind him as well. No, this is gonna work, guys. If you guys don't think it's gonna work, I defy you. You guys are gonna be wrong about this. It's gonna work. If you're thinking this is gonna turn into this thing where he's gonna have this big run where he's like, WWE champion or put in like these big moments. That's not what this is for. Like, I saw somebody say this would have been better served if you put him on NXT. To do what? Like, he's not the kind of wrestler that you put through the developmental system. Like, what is the benefit of putting this comedy character through the developmental system? You're not gonna make him NXT champion. You're not gonna have him go down there and have like this mid card title run. You already know what the character is. He's pretty established in what he is. He- Development is somewhere you put him somewhere to workshop his bit. You know where he is at this point. He has a clear idea of what this character is. He doesn't need to workshop the character. Just do this.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so smart about Danhausen and what's been smart about his career is this has been going on for years. Like, if you know the story of Danhausen, this guy's he can work in the ring. He's a great worker. He can have the matches that you would want, the 5-star things if he needed to. But he was like, that's not going to do anything in a world full of people that are having these over the top matches. So I need to create this character that's going to totally separate me from this class of people. And he got to AEW because of that. He was workshopping the character this entire time. So there doesn't need to be development when he's been developing it for like the last 5+ years. We all know what the character is. And that kind of goes to show wrestlers, if you have a character, a clear defined character, and you work that even before you get to the big show, it can work in your advantage. It just has to be a clearly defined character, though. And that's why Danhausen is in the position that he is, and why people are already buying the curse thing on what's supposed to be a serious wrestling show. When it's wrestling, you guys. We all love bits. Again, Phil talks about it pretty often with the AEW side too. Is like AEW wrestling fans like bits too. Wrestling fans like bits. It just depends on who's doing them.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't think the wrestling part of what he does is important over there. And for a company that really focuses on everything else, he's exactly where he should be. Um, it it's still very funny, like I said, that they put so much hype into this. He got such a big debut. It was crazy watching him at one point when he's walking down the ramp and like um, he's got the dancers next to him. One of the dancers was his wife. That was great. Again, just happy for him and just like having to have that moment with his wife. That's awesome. But like At one point, he was walking down, and I was like, he looks nervous, like because this is like it kind of looks like this is like all kind of overwhelming. And I asked
Yeah.
somebody else the same thing. They were like, yeah, I got kind of the same thing. Because like again, this guy used to be an indie wrestler. Like he's done like GCW, all like these small shows, all these like gyms and everything. And this guy is walking down and having his debut in the United Center. I'm sure at one point he was looking around like, how the heck did I get here?
Sold out show, Phil. He knows how fans are gonna feel about him coming out of this crate. Like no matter, like he's like, regardless who I am, regardless of what this is, I know what's gonna come out of me jumping out of this box. I know how some fans feel about my bits in general. So like, damn, this is crazy. Going from wrestling in front of 400 people in Illinois and other Illinois places and Indiana's and all these places to a sold out Chicago arena off the backs of CM Punk just won. Like, this is insane. And like, people putting it in perspective on this pod of it being a debut because like the others were return. I'm like, this was crazy. I'm sure he was like, I'll do it, but this is gonna feel like a lot. And hearing the responses from everybody, Phil, on both sides, because there are people that were excited about this. There are people that understand what this is. Then there's a lot of people that were like, what the hell is this? Like, has just been like, it's working either way. Like, if there was not, if people were like, nothing, we don't care, then I'd be like, oh, that's of concern. But people care in some kind of sense.
Absolutely. It was a lot of people that in the business that have either worked with him or know him that were happy for him, and I think that says
A
everything.
lot. Yeah.
But yeah, the big talking point coming out of it was that he got booed, and I was just like, he got reaction. Like, and
Yeah.
I know, people will be like, but this was a wet fart, and it didn't get a reaction. He got booed, and I'm like, give it a time. And everything, the more telling thing as well, even though he got booed and people were like, it's a wet fart. Um, every thumbnail and almost everything talking about Elimination Chamber after that had Danhausen on it. He was the most talked about thing coming out of pay per view. It was crazy. Like this is a pay per view with Punk on it. Big returns, big upset win to end the show, and most people were talking about Danhausen.
After the show was
That's
over,
insane.
Phil, after the show was over, the social media, my whole timeline was Danhausen. Could you believe what happened with Danhausen? Could you believe Danhausen? Could you believe Danhausen? I'm like, that's what they want. Again, you guys, that they care about this engagement. We've been seeing some stories this week on how important social media is to what these guys do. And if everybody's talking about something, I feel like that hits, even if some people are being like, that was horrible, that was blah, blah, blah. It's still talk, and that's what they care about.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people also being like, well, he's got to get in better shape and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, what do you guys think the ceiling for Danhausen is? Like, what do you think they're gonna do with this? Like, I don't know. This is not a new thing. We've had so many comedy characters. Like, I mean, just think of what the Blue Meanie is, like Toru Yano, like so many guys that are like comedy characters in wrestling. There's a lane for them. I don't think this really needs to be anything other than what it is. I think it's gonna be fine.
And Phil, they're saying if he was in better shape, that would mean something. I know a fool in great shape. I mean, some of the like one of the biggest fools in pro wrestling that is not on TV. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think what you look like matters in these cases.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, Danhausen is in WWE. Still very surreal to me. I laughed about it the next morning when I woke up, and everything I've seen about it since then, I'm like, yeah, this is just. He got big WWE pay per view debut.
A huge debut.
Still funny to me, man. Everything about it. It's like I said, people were getting that upset about it. That video of homegirl that does the content, Minerva, and then her boyfriend is behind her, crashing out the whole time. She's just like, "It's Danhausen." And he's just back there like, "No, no, no."
I just came out of it again. Like the funniest thing, you talked about it a little bit, but the influence, you guys, like CM Punk got this, like he got his friend a job, Phil. Like friends have gotten friends jobs before. We've seen people help. We've seen nepotism, all the things. This guy, you want to talk about influence? You want to talk about something? This shows exactly where the influence lies. This shows this guy. This was a hated man, most wanted man in this company. They had his face on a wanted poster for years, and now he's
Yeah.
like a front office guy essentially.
There's so many things about this that I mean that are funny about that. Punk cutting the pipe bomb and wanting to be in this place at some point and wanting to be on the front of like the cups and everything, WrestleMania main event. And it's just like he did it. He's won. Like he was on all of the chairs for this United Center. He's been front and center on all of the promotions. He's on the
The
front
new
of the
video
video
game.
game. Um, he gets in there. It's like, I mean, just even the idea of him going on Art of Wrestling after he left and being on there with a guy that he could never get in there. He couldn't get Colt in there. He got his guy in. He got Dan in. Like everything has changed. It's just it's wild to see, man.
That's supposed to be cold. Oh fuck! That just blew my brain. I was like, oh yeah, Colt did the comedy thing too. He just replaced him with Danhausen. This is wild as hell.
Like there's so many things about this that are funny. Like just the way this mirrors like Punk's first run with WWE and how all of this is going his way. Everything is coming up Millhouse now. Very funny stuff.
I'm not mad at it, dog. Like I said, this was hatred. They were in court. This was bad, and now it's like whatever you want, dude. You want to be on the cover of the video game? You want the main event of WrestleMania against Roman? Whatever you want, you guys, it's yours.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. We ended the night with the men's elimination chamber match. Randy Orton versus LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Logan Paul. Uh, this was comfortably the worst match on the show, guys. And I thought I was exaggerating until I rewatched it, and I was like, yeah, no, I did not enjoy this match. I mean, there are bits of it that I did like, but boy, the final stretch of it was so overbooked and clunky. Um, yeah, the women's match was much better, and like I said, I think yeah, I knew why they ended the show with this by the end of the match because I was like, why wouldn't you make the world title match the main event? It's Punk, it's United Center, but by the end of it, I was like, oh, I know what they think this is supposed to do for the main event. I don't know if it landed exactly the way they wanted it to, but
Ooh.
what are you gonna do? Yeah, I thought starting out the gate with Javon Evans versus Cody Rhodes, that's a fresh matchup we hadn't seen yet. Really cool to see Javon in that spot with Cody to open the chamber. Um, Trick Williams was up next. Trick's entrance was fire. He came out with like standing on that light pad with like the smoke and everything. Looked like a $1,000,000 with like the all white, the fur. Like they've nailed the presentation with Trick Williams so far.
Trick Williams is out of here, you guys. Like coming off of spoiler alert, what happens in this match? Like he's competing with guys that are up there that are in main events. Like he's set to feud with Randy Orton in the future. It looks like, and Randy Orton's gonna be where he is. Like seeing him with other superstars, Phil, in this match, I was like, oh, he's already one of them ones, and it's insane to see, especially starting with it's Javon, it's Cody, and it's Trick, and it's like, dude, these guys were again. Javon was wrestling in DPW in front of 400 people. Javon was out. Now he's
Yeah.
in the elimination chamber against the biggest star in the company. Like this is wild.
Yes. Uh, yeah, the stuff with Trick, Javine, and Cody, and then of course last to come in is Logan Paul, and all three of them jump Logan Paul because of course Logan Paul is insufferable. Um, Throughout this match, I felt this confirmed a lot of what I've been thinking about Logan Paul for a while. A lot of stuff that he was doing, because people keep telling me, yeah, you don't like him, but he's a good heel. A lot of stuff he was doing was not getting reactions.
Mm-mm.
That crowd was not into what he was doing. And I think it's still because he's very athletic. He can do big spots. He can wrestle well. I just don't think he's connected the dots in terms of like what the character is. It still feels like to me Logan Paul playing a wrestler. It doesn't feel like a fully formed wrestling character, and I think that that's what the crowd is not connecting with. And it shows in his matches. I think even the way he works his
Mm-hmm.
matches, the character stuff that you expect from him is just not there. But he can
Mm-hmm.
do all of this cool stuff. He can do all this athletic stuff. But yeah, I think having him be like the big uh, having him be the biggest threat in this match was a mistake. I know he took Bronson Reed's spot, and you could feel it. You could tell that this was really supposed to be the Bronson Reed spot where Bronson eliminated three people, and it really made Bronson coming out of this match. And I think it would have worked better for Bronson. For Logan, it just kind of felt like, oh, they're pushing this guy hard again, and nobody's that interested.
We knew about Bronson on Monday, Tuesday, 4 or 5 days before this match took place. Rebook this match, you guys. This would have worked. It would have worked super well. If Bronson was in there throttling fools, running through guys, splashing guys. The concept of eliminating three guys in a row would have worked. I would have been into it. But switching it to Logan Paul and the eliminations just so happened to be Phil. They just so happen to be all the damn black wrestlers in the match. I'm like, this is not hidden for me. And like the funniest thing about Logan Paul is the complaints that people sometimes have about like Osprey and Ricochet and guys in that class is that they're all flips and moves and nothing else. This guy is the definition of what, and Logan Paul is the definition of that because he has zero little things. The connective tissue between the big moves and spots, he don't understand them still, and he's been in wrestling for a couple of years now, and that's the part that fans are starting to realize because the allure of this is a big celebrity with 10 million followers and all that has wore off. Now you're legit just another WWE superstar, and what do you bring to the table that's different than anybody else? And we're starting to see not a lot because he doesn't have that connective tissue. He's just like, what's my next big spot? And like, that's fine, but you what, what's your character's motivation for getting there? And he just doesn't have that.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. The novelty of the celebrity being a part of this has kind of died down with Logan Paul. I think some people still know like he's got a name and people, but most wrestling fans they don't really care about that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think you're also right that he just does a lot of moves, and there's like no real psychology to it. There's no real character or like connective tissue with it. And I think that's the last thing he's missing. And none of this is me
Mm-hmm.
saying that he can't eventually get there and he can't eventually
No.
pick those things up. Of course he can. Just at the moment, that's what I enjoy the least about his matches. I think like, and he's had matches that I enjoy. I just think like for as long as he's been doing this, I've been hoping to get more of that out of him, and it just hasn't
Right.
happened yet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, he racked up 3 eliminations here. Eliminated both Javon and Trick Williams. Uh, Also eliminated L.A. Knight. Poor L.A. Knight, man.
Yeah.
That clip of him has been going around, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's just wrestling. All this stuff isn't gonna look clean. It was very funny the way he tried to recover, and poor guy. And unfortunately, like that's the only thing I've seen of LA Knight from this match that is circulating all throughout the timeline. Um,
There's a
and
clip of somebody when it happens, so they zoom in on Randy Orton and he like he giggles.
he's like rolling away after the elbow, giggling. Very funny. Yeah, did not make LA Knight look great, but yeah, Trick Williams eliminated all three of those guys. That set up the remainder of the match. As I think it's I can't remember which person was getting eliminated and they're being pulled out of the ring. That's when we get Mass Man action. Mass Man comes out.
Who's
ends
that
up being
masked man?
a decoy to set up the return of Seth Rollins. Seth gets in the ring, uh, hits Logan Paul with a thrust kick, hits him with a stomp, sets up Cody Rhodes to eliminate him. Then that's when Seth pulls off his mask. Big reaction from my guy. Runs away in the night. Uh, I worry about this guy because he keeps doing this. And when Braun got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
because initially when they kept saying, "Well, Seth could be back by WrestleMania," I was like, "Okay, then it's probably Seth versus Braun." But when Braun got hurt, I was like, "Okay, Seth, don't rush back for this match. Take your time. Get back to 100%. What are you gonna do? You're gonna come back and wrestle Logan Paul again? You've wrestled Logan Paul at WrestleMania already.
Mm-hmm.
This guy does not want to miss eliminate. Does not want to miss WrestleMania.
He
We've
can't.
seen this several times. His documentary, he had a WWE 24 when he had that knee injury, and famously, there's a clip of him sitting in a box watching WrestleMania, and he's like so depressed because he's missing WrestleMania. He ends up walking out of there before the show is over because he's that upset about it. Um, and look, that's part of what makes the greats, man. Just this drive, this drive to
Absolutely.
want to be on this show, like this like psychotic aspect of who they are. Of like, I want to be here. I just want you to take care of yourself, buddy. Like you did not have to rush back from the shoulder injury to do this angle. I hope that he's 100% because he's come back so many times in time for WrestleMania, and I don't know the toll that's gonna take on his body.
Yeah, it is some sick, psychotic, back of the mind. Like, if it's that season, if we're getting into WrestleMania season in September, October, November, and people get hurt, they're like, well, I got to get back for the big show. And Seth, like, he never again at when he did that 24 and he watched that WrestleMania, he's like, there's never going to be another WrestleMania come hell or high water where I'm not there. And if I got to kill myself, that's what's going to happen. Cena coming back at that 2008 Royal Rumble when I thought he was going to be out for a long time. I'm like, damn, this is setting a crazy precedent because people are going to work crazy hard. And that's what Seth a couple of times has done this where he's like, I don't care what the doctors say. I don't care what you guys say. I got to come back for this match. But again, Phil, like if he's coming back for this match against Logan Paul again, and Logan Paul's heat is not where it is,
Yeah.
I just hope this
My
is the
only
end of this masked guy reveal, honestly, because I'm over it, brother. We got to stop.
We gotta stop with the masked men for sure. My only hope is that maybe Braun will be back and that we're actually gonna get the Braun match. But if this is just for the Logan Paul match, I don't know, Seth. I think you could have
Yay.
kept doing the sports stuff and kept living your life, dog. I think it's all right. But yeah, what a moment for my guy has continued to do all of this the sports shows while he's been out. He's been constantly visible, constantly on TV. Comes back, gets a good pop. Yeah, got a great reaction on Raw on Monday as well. Um, yeah, I was happy for him. He got a big pop, but I just please be careful. Just please, please be careful. Um, but yeah, that set up the remainder of this match, which made absolutely no sense. For some reason, the chamber door was still open even after Rollins and a masked guy had come in. Rollins had come in and helped to eliminate somebody in the match. Doors are still open for some reason. Drew
Mm-hmm.
McIntyre enters the fray because, of course, he does not want Cody Rhodes to get another chance at the WWE Championship. So he tries to attack Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes ends up fighting back and forth with him and Randy Orton. They basically do the Captain America and Bucky thing from Civil War where they attack them together. And Randy Orton does the point like, yeah, go ahead, get him. That leads to Cody Rhodes hitting Drew McIntyre with the crossroads. And that's exactly what Randy Orton wanted him to do.
Come on.
As soon as his back was turned, hits him with the RKO. Randy Orton is the 2026 Men's Elimination Chamber winner. Um, the laugh that I let out for a good 2 minutes after this, um, yeah, I know what this was supposed to be. A big shock win for Orton. Um, Randy Orton winning the Elimination Chamber in 2026 is very funny, guys. Um, Coming off the back of John Cena winning the
what,
Elimination Chamber in
what are they
2025. In
thinking?
2026, Randy Orton Randy Orton wins the men's elimination chamber match. And then the fact that this was so overbooked to get to this place. Like, you already set this up where Logan Paul eliminated 3 people, and the only reason he really got beaten is because interference. It wasn't like the guys in the match just straight up beat him.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have interference to get him taken out of the match. And then you basically did the same thing for Cody at the end of this match, where you needed interference for Cody to lose the match. And it was just like, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of what the Elimination Chamber is supposed to be? When you do any kind of cage match, is to keep all of these entities out. So it's just a straightforward match, and the people inside the match decide the outcome. And I thought by the end of that, I'm like, well, why did we do any of these things? And to make it even funnier, because Drew interfered in all of this, um, Nick Aldis was furious at the end of the night. Before the night is over, on the post show, he says, well, because this guy can't stop sticking his nose in everybody's business, he keeps interfering in all these qualifying matches. He interfered in this match. He can't just wait. He wants a title match so bad. We're going to give him a title match on Friday against Cody Rhodes. Why did we do any of this then? Because the Elimination Chamber match is to decide the number one contender. We have a number one contender in Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton now. Now you're just going to give Cody Rhodes a match anyway. He lost. He lost the Elimination Chamber match.
We watched it.
You're going to give him a match anyway. It's just like, so why did we just do any of that? Why didn't you just put Drew in the chamber, especially after you took Bronson out? Why didn't you just put Drew in the chamber and make it a championship match if that was the case? If you were just going to do a championship match on Friday anyway.
And I think it made Cody look like an idiot first for trying to hit the crossroads while Randy Orton's watching you. He's watching you do the crossroads, just waiting, preying on your dumb body. As soon as he gets up, RKO, he's an idiot. Drew McIntyre looks like an idiot because you were like, there's no way Cody should get a match. If anything, you should have cost Randy Orton. Then you would have faced Cody at WrestleMania, would have gave yourself a big WrestleMania match. Instead, you screwed Cody, then had Cody lose. Then they forced you into a match anyways. I'm like, wait, why? What? Huh? I don't understand. Yeah. Like, this is exactly what Roman is talking about. You're defending your belt and do all this shit, and you already got your matches booked. It just got too much. There was too much. And then I'm like, in the middle of this, Phil, Randy Orton won a 2026 Elimination Chamber match. Like, wait, what? There's some wrestlers that I always say they don't need accolades. They don't need stipulations. They don't need any of this to get big WrestleMania matches. Randy Orton's one of those guys. He could come out and be like, give me a title match, and the world champion be like, yeah, you're Randy Orton. It's a big match. It's all this. There's no reason that he won a Royal Rumble. Like, there was one Royal Rumble's like, there's no reason in the world why Randy Orton should be running the Royal Rumble. Like, what these accolades should be for to get people over. He's over as he's the most over you could be. He's at the max. Like, he doesn't need any more. We could have got to a match with him and Cody any other way, but they just like bastardized this cage match so much, Phil. At every angle, they're like, no, none of this matters. None of it matters at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a good laugh out of the end of this because it was so overbooked. Cody hitting that crossroads on Drew because he's distracted by all of this. And Randy's sitting there the whole time like, Drewski, got him. We fucking got him. Hits it with RKO right away and pins him. I was like, Cody, what are you doing? Why would you trust Randy? You've been around this guy for most of your career. You studied under this guy's tree as the legacy. You know that this guy can't be trusted as a baby face or heel. He's just waiting to get this RKO off. Why would you do this? And I will say this. The stuff at the end of the match with that image of Randy in the background doing his pose and pointing at the elimination at the WrestleMania sign, and Cody is sitting on the chamber steps distraught. That was great. That was a great visual. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's the match. And I posted that picture right after the show and was like, yep, I see where this is going. And people were still like, four-way. And I was like, guys, no. If you look at
Four
that
way.
image and you think we're getting a four-way, boy, you are missing the plot here, man. This is clear as day what this is setting up. Him sitting there feeling like, dang, I can't believe I let him get me with that. Yeah, very clear as day we were getting Orton, Cody after the way the night ended. Um, there's a lot of interesting stuff to come out of this. Straight away, I told you guys when we got the three stages of hell match and Drew McIntyre won, and the way that Drew McIntyre won, I this guy's not walking in a WrestleMania as champion. I knew it then, because just the way he won, that's not the way you put the belt on somebody and confidently make people feel like you're invested in this guy for the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't buy it. Um, so not shocked at all that he lost the belt before WrestleMania. um, which we'll get into the SmackDown stuff in a minute. But not shocked at all that we got there. But also, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes is a WrestleMania caliber match. At this point, we've seen Drew, Cody 3 or 4 times, and none of those matches really knocked anybody's socks off. And so I can't see you going back to that match at WrestleMania. Especially you did it at WrestlePalooza, and the way that people talked about how disappointing WrestlePalooza was, you did it a few times after that. You just did it as a TV match. And you're telling me you're going to use that as a WrestleMania match? No, that's not usually how they do WrestleMania booking. They don't really do that. Like they want it to feel like a big match that you can only see on this stage. They wouldn't do a match they've done 4 times up to the build to this show again here. Even if you're adding Jacob Fatu in there, yeah, that adds some intrigue to it. Maybe you could have added Sammy into the mix. No, I never felt like this was going to be the big blow off match for the Cody and Drew McIntyre stuff.
No. And I feel like Cody has been building to this Randy Orton match. I mean, essentially his entire career. Like every time he talks about kind of his come up, every time he talks about kind of breaking through, Randy Orton is somewhere in there. And like even off the post of this, they've done the pause together. They've like done all these moments where Cody's like, "You're the guy. Thanks so much for help." Like that's all build for this big WrestleMania match. And like you said, this feels like a WrestleMania caliber match. We need big singles matches, and seeing those two guys
Yes.
stand together feels like it. We've done these other matches on SmackDown. We've done these things to get up to this, and this feels like it. But getting to this feel was weird.
Very clunky. Very, very clunky. I don't know why you couldn't just make this a championship match. Have Cody win the chamber, become champion here, and then Randy Orton just challenge him in the weeks leading to WrestleMania.
Easy as that.
Pretty simple. Um, but there are a few things that I thought about in the last few days. When Cody Rhodes joined Legacy, and really the thing that started the downfall for the Legacy, I believe that was Cody Rhodes pushing that pipe into the Elimination Chamber match, and
Mm.
that's what started the downfall of this group. When Cody Rhodes came back to WWE in 2022, Randy Orton made his return at Elimination Chamber. At
Mm.
the afterwards, and Cody's giving that whole talk about how he had a call with Randy before when he knew he was coming back, and he told him thank you for calling me, and then he was like thank you for his career, and he got all emotional, and he's talking about uh, how much it meant that Randy Orton continued to vouch for him all this time, and his career wouldn't be what it is without Randy Orton. Post show for Elimination Chamber. So
Yep.
the fact that all of this is kind of coming full circle, Elimination Chamber, is very interesting. Um, you also have that quote from I think it's Cody's podcast when he's talking about the picture he has up at his house of uh, everybody lifting him up on his shoulders when he finally wins the championship, and he's looking down at Randy Orton, and he felt like I did it. I didn't let him down. I proved him right. He kept vouching for me all that time, and I was just so glad that I I proved you right. And they're both crying and all this, and it's just like, yeah, this was the feud.
Yeah.
Also, I think we're finally here, guys. I think everybody asking for it. Everybody's been saying, when do you turn this guy heel? I think we're finally here, guys. And there are a
Yeah.
few things that let me think that uh, you really have gone through the paces with all the other people. Kevin Owens really pushed you to the limits of, are you really a good guy? Is this really who you are? Is this your authentic self? The Drew stuff has been Drew the whole time, saying this guy sucks. He's not really authentic. He only cares about himself. He only is putting himself in his position. And really, the only ultimate person. Well, sorry, I'm leaving out also importantly the John Cena match. Hesitated in
Mhm.
the John Cena match. Didn't just clobber this guy with the belt at WrestleMania, and you lost your belt because of that. And we don't know how far he would have went to get his belt back because John Cena turned babyface before SummerSlam. If John Cena was still a heel at SummerSlam, we don't know the lengths that Cody Rhodes would have went to get his belt back because he didn't have to. And I
Mhm.
think that is all going to play into this stuff with Randy Orton because the ultimate person to teach him this lesson that you cannot hesitate. Your spot is your spot. It doesn't matter if this person's your friend. It doesn't matter if this person's your mentor. It's me or you. And he made that mistake again in Elimination Chamber. He
Mhm.
turned his back on Randy Orton. Randy Orton took that opportunity and he won the chamber match. If he didn't get his rematch on Friday, he would not be in the main event of WrestleMania. And that's something this guy has got to be thinking about going into WrestleMania. And who else to finally teach this guy this lesson? Because Punk has been telling him in all of these like Royal Rumble um, promos they've been having for years. It's like, bro, you got a target on your back. All these people are gonna come for you. All these people you think are your friends. Like, in order to keep this spot, you got to become something that you didn't think you had to be. We've done it at
Mhm.
this point. He's finished the story. All of this is about a bit about him building his legacy. He's got 4 WrestleMania main events to his name, 2 Royal Rumble wins. He's done it. He's reached the peak of his career. At this point, the story is how do you stay there? And the ultimate person to teach him this lesson of how do you stay there is the guy that was his mentor from the beginning. He's beat everybody else from his era, guys. John Cena, Brock Lesnar, all the other guys that were like the big final bosses of his era, other than
Mhm.
Randy Orton. The only person for him to beat, the last legend for him to kill, is Randy Orton, guys. That guy's turning heel. It's coming. I'm telling you right now, he is turning heel, man. I'm convinced of it.
Rollins was on that side too of that. Cody, you're not the person that everybody thinks you are. Trying to be like, I know what you really are, and I know what you would do to stay on top. And Cody hasn't, like you said, every time he needs to really show that last step, something else happens to distract from that, and this could be it. I mean, that's a mix of emotions because Cody is still Phil so fucking over. Oh my god! Every time his theme hits, people go absolutely hammy. But as a character, you can see those little, there's like cracks. You can see him slowly
Yeah.
breaking down or slowly realizing that it's going to take more than just being Captain America to really stay on top. It takes more than just being the good the good guy with the suit that kisses the babies to stay on top, because at every turn somebody like Randy Orton, somebody like Drew McIntyre is going to try to screw you.
Yeah, he still is very popular. Even on Friday night when he won, got big cheers. Um, but no, the character is where it's at. You've
Mhm.
done the chase already. He's done it. He's finished the story at this point. Um, the end of this, getting here and rewriting his legacy and going up against a guy that's also trying to rewrite his legacy. I think it's very interesting. The parallels between Cena and Cena going into WrestleMania, trying to get his 17th world title win. Randy's trying to go in and get his 15th. And
Mm.
again, if this is you trying to etch your legacy, no, you've done it. You've had it. Last time I did this and I cared about another guy's legacy and how much I idolized this guy, I took my eye off the ball. I don't think he's going to make that same mistake again, guys.
It can't be the same.